What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at a brand new optic I just got in. I haven't tried one of these before, so this will be my first impressions. I haven't unboxed this thing or turned on the red dot or anything, so let's jump into it. Now I've seen these optics before. I've kind of looked at them a little bit here and there. I haven't purchased one, but C&H reached out and offered to let me try one of these out. So that's what we're gonna do. So they sent me out their new Comp red dot. Now they've had this out for a little while. I've seen them here and there, but I haven't ever gotten my hands on one. So we're gonna unbox this thing and take a look at it real quick. This is how it comes packaged. I'm not sure if they make these in-house. In the box, it's got a little card with a few QR codes on the back. One is to register the warranty and one is the owner's manual. So you know how to operate this thing. Comes with a lens cleaning cloth. Comes with a variety of different screws in a little bag. A couple Allen wrenches. Comes with a CR1632 battery. And then it comes with the optic itself. Now the optic isn't bad looking. That glass kind of sits out in front of the base of that thing. It's got a nice big window on it, and we'll go over some of the specifics of this thing once we jump over to the bench and take a close look at it. The body of this thing is aircraft grade aluminum. It has your adjustment buttons right here on the side. The battery tray is right up top, so you can get easy access and don't have to remove it from your gun. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this here. You might have to wait till we get to the bench, but it also has a built-in rear sight if you're removing the rear sight to install this thing. So I'm excited to try this out. Like I said, I haven't tried one before. I've heard good things. If you guys have watched my channel for any length of time, you know I love their mounting plates. They're my go-to when I'm mounting a red dot. Yeah, they are a little bit more expensive, but I feel like that is well spent money when you're buying a quality product and the customer service to back it up. There's a big difference when you have a problem with a product and you can get a hold of them and get it remedied versus buying a cheap red dot plate off of Amazon, and 3 months down the line after your Amazon return window is closed, you're just stuck with it. So let's jump over to the bench, take a closer look at this thing, get a few more details on it, and then I'm going to throw this on my Springfield Armory XDM Elite10mm. If you didn't see the previous video I did on this, I'll link it down below, but we put on some optic height sights on it. I did have a Holosun on this before. I took that off because I want to try this one, and I'm going to tell you one little problem that I had when I went to film this video the first time and went to mount this optic. So here's an up close look at this thing. You can see it has those buttons right there on the side like I mentioned. The battery tray is right here, kind of right in the foreground of the window of that optic, which is nice and easy to change that battery. That does have a Torx bit on it. I don't know if you can see that. The rear sight, if mounting this is going to remove your rear sight. It's got your elevation adjustment on the top and your windage adjustment on the side. Like I mentioned, this glass, or the hood for that glass, sits forward a little bit, kind of over the end of the base of this thing. Now I'll have to see how that will work on this gun that has the loaded chamber indicator that's right here. Hopefully that won't pose any problems, but we'll have to look at that. I'm just going to run through the specifications of this optic so you guys know. It's got a 27mm lens diameter. It's obviously a one-time magnification, so it's the picture you see with your bare eyes. It's got elevation and windage adjustments for a total of 90 MOA, which is quite a bit of adjustment. 1 MOA per click, that's pretty standard. It's got a 3 MOA dot that comes in either red or green. It's parallax free up to 33 yards. Got 10 levels of brightness settings, and the first 2 are night vision compatible. Like I mentioned, it comes with that 1632 battery. It's got the shake awake, so if this thing goes into hibernation, the first sign of movement, this thing wakes up and is ready to rock and roll. It's shock proof and it's waterproof, and this thing only weighs 1 ounce, which is awesome. That's pretty lightweight. They sent me this plate to mount it on my Springfield XDM Elite in 10mm. And when I was looking on their website, when I was telling them what plate I wanted, I didn't see the option for the 10mm. So I hit them up and they said this one would work. So this is the original plate they sent me. I got this with the optic and went to make a video and install it, and it didn't fit. This is the first plate that they sent me. This is the factory Springfield plate for an RMR pattern. This is the free one I got when I bought the gun. And this one fits on there, this one doesn't. So I was looking and seeing what the differences are, and I'm not sure if you can see this, but right in here where that cutout is, Springfield one is more elongated than the C&H one. That cutout corresponds with this little roll pin that's right here on the top of the slide, and it wouldn't fit on. So I reached out to them, and like I was saying when we were sitting in front of the camera, this is one thing I love about C&H is their customer service. I reached out to them and said, hey, it's not fitting. I'm not sure what's going on with it. Personally, I could have taken a Dremel and hogged that out a little bit to make it fit, or trimmed off that roll pin, which I didn't want to do. I sent them a few pictures. They got back to me. They said that was our previous version that wasn't updated for the 10mm model. Within 2 days, I had the new optic plate, which is different. You can see the difference on there right here in this section where that roll pin goes. This new updated version is more elongated than the previous version. So that was just a shipping mistake on their part. This one will work on all the 9mm XDMs, and I don't think you'd have a problem with it. But this one's for the 10mm, so we're going to use that one. They also sent me out a bunch of different screws, all that stuff to get this thing mounted up. Before we get going, I'm going to show you all the parts and pieces that I'm using out of the bag that they sent me. It's got these 3 small screws that will mount the plate to the actual slide. And this plate is cut on the bottom right here and right here for these little T-nuts that will go in there, and that's where the optic bolts down to with these little screws that came with the mounting plate. These screws all do have some blue Loctite on them already. I'm going to use some more. I don't like to trust that stuff. In the past, I have had one optic come flying off when I've just used the pre-installed Loctite. I don't know if it was just dried up and didn't grab enough, but with all my optics, I do put extra Loctite on there when I'm installing them. And like with all my videos, I'll have a link in the description that takes you to my website, and I'll have links for all this stuff, for that optic plate, the red dot, anything I'm using, any tools I'm using. You guys can go over there and get more information on it. I don't sell anything over there. It's just information only, but it will have the information you need on all this stuff that I'm talking about today. YouTube doesn't like me showing you guys step by step how to do stuff like this because, you know, that's pretty dangerous putting a red dot on a gun. So I'm going to throw you on time lapse, get this thing installed, then we'll take a look at it once I get it done and get up off the bench. So here's how that turned out. That doesn't look too bad on there. It doesn't sit down too far right here on the front to where that loaded chamber indicator is going to cause any problems. Looks like it sits up far enough to where that can still operate good. That install wasn't bad at all, honestly. The worst part of any install I do is having cameras and lights and stuff like that. But that went on pretty slick, nice and solid. Like I mentioned, I did put some extra Loctite on those. I don't like just relying on the Loctite that comes on those screws. The back end of this thing is pretty thick right here. So I don't think my sights will co-witness. As you can see, the sight's about even with it, which kind of sucks. I wish that was a little bit thinner and that thing sat down just a little more, but it is what it is. It does have that sight built in, so that will be nice when I'm out shooting if I need to use those iron sights. That lines up perfect with that front sight. Now I'll show you this dot. This is empty. I got it locked open. It's a nice clear dot. My camera doesn't really do it justice. It looks a little fuzzy on camera, but in real life that thing's bright and crisp, and that'll be nice on there. I really do like that big window on that thing. You can pick up that dot really easily. I haven't got this out to shoot yet, but a few things off this initial impression that I didn't really like is, one, how thick the back of that is. I wish that was thinner, like I just mentioned. And two, I wish this had the option to have a multi-reticle system versus just a dot. Typically on the red dots that I like the multi-reticle with the circle and the dot in the center. It's just easier for me. It's what I'm used to. This won't be bad to pick up or anything like that. That's just what I prefer. So it would be nice to have that option when you're buying these optics if they offered it with the multi-reticle system similar to the Holosuns. Another thing I wish is that they would label all the bags of screws that come with this stuff. They just came in little plastic bags, so it's kind of a guessing game, opening all the bags, figuring out which ones go to what. They ship them out with all the screws so you can mount multiple red dots to this plate. It's not just this, it's any RMR type footprint red dot that will fit on this plate. So it would be nice if they labeled them accordingly as to these screws are for the C&H red dot, these screws are for a Holosun, these are for an RMR, something like that, so it's a little bit easier and you don't have to open all those little bags and have screws everywhere and test fit them all. That's one thing that would be nice, because now I got a bunch of open bags of little screws. Those little screws are handy to have in case you break one or strip one or something like that, but it would be nice if they were labeled so you know what you have. But all in all, this thing went on pretty slick. It doesn't look bad on there. Once I get this thing out to the range, I'll make sure and do an update video on it and let you guys know how it works when I get out there. Like I mentioned before, I'll have a link in the description that takes you to my website that has links for all the tools and products and stuff like that I used in this video. I don't sell anything, it's just information only. So if you guys want to go look at that stuff, follow that link in the description. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and we'll check you guys on the next one.